Have you ever closed your heart to another person? Perhaps they disappointed you, criticised you, betrayed your trust, or failed to return the affection you showed them. So you became more careful. You kept the relationship polite but distant. You told yourself that you were being wise or discerning. But sometimes what we call wisdom is actually fear. Sometimes what we call discernment is simply a respectable reason for withholding love. Many people live with partially closed hearts because an open heart can be hurtful. Yet the wall that keeps pain out may also keep love out. It can prevent intimacy, reconciliation, compassion, and the relationships God intends us to experience. Paul addresses this in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 11 to 13. He tells the Corinthians that he spoke freely to them, opened wide his heart, and withheld no affection from them. The restriction in the relationship is not coming from Paul, it is coming from the Corinthians. He therefore appeals to them, "Open wide your hearts also." To open the heart means allowing affection, warmth, and concern to flow freely toward another person. It means making room for them in our emotional life. Paul repeats this idea in 2 Corinthians chapter 7. Make room for us in your hearts. A closed heart does the opposite. It keeps people at a distance and restricts affection. Why do we close our hearts? Often it is because openness makes us vulnerable. When we trust, we risk betrayal. When we show affection, we risk rejection. When we make room for someone, we risk disappointment. The Bible does not tell us to abandon wisdom. Some relationships require boundaries, but there is a difference between a wise boundary and a closed heart. A boundary says, "I will not permit harmful behaviour." A closed heart says, "I will no longer love, care, forgive, or show affection." Paul himself had been hurt by the Corinthians. Some had criticised him and questioned his ministry. He confronted those problems honestly, but he did not close his heart. He remained truthful without becoming cold. He was wounded, but he refused to let the wound control his affections. An open heart is therefore not a heart that has never been hurt. It is a heart that refuses to allow hurt, fear, suspicion, pride, or resentment to have the final word. Other passages reinforce this message. First, Peter tells us to love one another deeply from the heart. Romans tells us to be devoted to one another in love. 1 John warns us not to close our hearts when we see another person in need. Ephesians tells us to put away bitterness and become compassionate and forgiving. So how should we respond? First, ask why your heart has closed. Is there genuine danger, or are you afraid of being hurt? Does wisdom require a boundary, or has resentment taken control? Second, remember that love does not require unlimited access. You may need boundaries, but you can still pray, forgive, act compassionately, and refuse bitterness. Finally, accept that love involves risk. We cannot open our hearts while demanding a guarantee that no one will ever hurt us. Ask God to show you whether there is anyone toward whom you have restricted your heart. Have you called fear discernment? Have you called resentment wisdom? Have you built a wall that once protected you but now prevents love and reconciliation? Opening your heart does not mean becoming foolish. It means refusing to let pain turn you into someone who can no longer love freely. Paul's words remain a challenge to us. Open wide your hearts also. I'm John Jeffries for Jesus Reasons, discovering the path to a meaningful life.